What's up, guys? I'm Chad Barnes, and welcome to the channel. Here, it's all about real car talk, from simple fixes to smart driving tips and keeping your ride in top shape. If that sounds good to you, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you watch all the way through. There's a lot of good stuff coming. Let's get to it.
Made it to Russia, we have told about the market misadventures of SsangYong brand and the circumstances under which it turned into kilogram mobility in quite a lot of detail in the material about Torres. One of the oldest Korean automobile brands has experienced both ups and downs over the years of its existence. One of these falls occurred at the turn of 2014 to 2015 when the company almost went bankrupt, left many foreign markets, including the Russian one, and was soon acquired by the Indian concern Mahindra. But, even being in a pre-infarction state, SsangYong continued to work on new models and in November 2014 was officially presented subcompact crossover segment SUVB with the factory code X100 named Tivoli. In 2015, the launch of the model on the Russian market was actively discussed but never took place. In 2018, Mahindra, which bought SsangYong, launched a similar car XUV 300 under its own brand on the X100 platform. In 2019, the crossover underwent its first restyling, acquiring a 10.25-inch display instead of the traditional instrument cluster, and a 9-inch touchscreen infotainment system. Well, and in 2023, after the transition of the brand to the constellation of Kilogram Group, Tivoli received once again changed design of the front end. Russian journalists who were present at the official presentation saw KGM Tivoli in such a form. Mambo Italiano. As for the exterior, it is clearly felt that Italian designers had a hand in its formation, although the company does not say it directly. Actually, the name of the crossover is quite Italian, because Tivoli is a small but very beautiful town in the Italian province of Lazio, and I would not be surprised if 3 decorative elements, red and 2 black, on the blind upper part of the radiator liner were painted in the colors of the Italian flag. The Tivoli is a really small car. Its dimensions are 4,255 by 1,810 by 1,620 mm with a wheelbase of 2,600 mm. This is quite comparable to the first generations of such bestsellers of the pre-Chinese period as Renault Duster, 4315 by 1822 by 1695. Base, 2,673 mm, and Hyundai Creta, 4270 by 1780 by 1620, base, 2,590 mm. These dimensions clearly indicate the urban purpose of the car. Compact models, as a rule, feel themselves in the crowd of megacities like a roach in the river. It is easier for owners of such cars to maneuver in a busy stream, and it is easier to find a place for parking. Not bad. 178 mm of ground clearance definitely hint that the driver of Tivoli can drive down a country road, but it is obviously not worth to rush into the abyss of off-road adventures, the more so that all-wheel drive versions of the model will not be available in Russia yet. When size matters, but the Tivoli is not only a compact car, but also light and equipped with a very powerful engine. The same engine 1.5 LE XGI 150 TTGDI with an output of 163 horsepower is under the hood of larger crossovers Corando and Torres. And this engine is not only powerful, but also momentary 280 Nm, which it is capable to give out in a range from 1500 to 4000 revolutions per minute, is quite a lot. And if we take into account that in pair with the engine works 6-speed hydromechanics Aisin, we can expect from Tivoli a fair amount of fierceness. The company even believes that Tivoli will be quite capable to compete with crossovers of Mini brand. But this statement I leave on conscience of employees of the official distributor of brand KGM in Russia, because Mini is not only and not so much dynamics as excellent handling. Whether semi-independent rear suspension of Tivoli can provide something comparable in this respect, it will be possible to tell only after road tests. If to continue comparison with Duster and Creta, it is worth mentioning at once that the popularity of these models ensured their suitability for the role of the only family car. Is Tivoli suitable for this role? To tell the truth, I am not sure. Firstly, on the second row of seats of this crossover is rather cramped, and it is visible to the naked eye. In any case, I squeezed in the second row with some efforts. No additional vital benefits for inhabitants of Goloka are also not provided. And again, the trunk. On a global site, KGM very solid figures, 423 litres in 5-seat and 1115 in 2-seat configuration are resulted. Thus visually the trunk seems less than Industa and Creta, though they have declared volumes in 408 and 403 litres accordingly. In any case, transportation of a baby stroller and a child in a child seat will turn into a difficult task for a young family. To you, young traditionalists, as for ergonomics of the driver's seat and comfort on the first row, I did not notice any special problems. However, the cockpit equipment and facilities will please rather a mature traditionalist than a young computer geek. Judge for yourself, most functions have separate physical controls, if not buttons, then zones on a separate touch panel. Theoretically, in other markets there are complete sets with a display replacing the instrument cluster, but at the Russian presentation showed a variant with a classic analog speedometer and tachometer and a monochrome screen of the onboard computer between them. A separate key on the console before a selector box is intended for a choice of a mode of movement, climate control is deduced on. A separate touch panel and buttons of heating of a steering wheel, inclusion of the assistant of descent from a mountain and switching off of systems of stabilization are collected in the block to the left from a steering column. Yes, there is a touch screen of the media system, but its diagonal makes 8 inches, so that Tivoli does not pretend to a victory in race of diagonals. But for integration with a smartphone there are time-tested Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. As for electronic assistance, from the extensive list of options offered for this model in other markets, there are only the systems of assistance and warning in emergency braking and assistance in descending and starting on a hill, and ABS and ESP, which have already become standard. Apparently, the company tried its best to reduce the price, but it still turned out to be too high for the intended target audience. Because the buyers of such cars are usually yuppies, young urban professionals. For them, the initial price of 3,590,000 rubles will obviously be too high, because for this money you can buy a much larger, more powerful and spacious car, at least on the secondary market, at least in the showrooms of Chinese brands where you can find such models as Newstar 001, aka Geely Tugela, Geely City Ray, Bell GX7, Haval Dargo and so on. KGM brand sales specialists can only hope for such arguments as high authority of the Korean car industry, declared reliability, confirmed by an honest and full-fledged warranty for 5 years or 100,000 kilometers and subsidized loan rate. In conclusion, the KGM Tivoli impresses with its compact design and swift performance, making it a standout choice for those seeking a small yet powerful vehicle. However, its premium price tag may give potential buyers pause. Ultimately, if you value agility and style in a compact package, the Tivoli could be worth the investment. Thank you for watching our review, and be sure to subscribe for more insights on the latest automotive trends.